What if your next coworker wasn't a person at all? I'm talking about a piece of code, an AI that doesn't just help you with your job, but actually does your job.
Sounds like sci-fi, right?
Well, it's not anymore. In fact, there was this 1 week, just 1 week in December of 2025, where that world pretty much became our reality. This isn't just another tech update. This is a full-blown revolution, and it's happening, like, right now.
And hey, this quote from AI Weekly, it just hits the nail on the head. We are so far past those simple little chatbots that just answer basic questions. That's old news. We're now talking about fully autonomous agents. Think of them as entities you can literally hire to do complex, multi-step jobs. Yeah, you heard that right. The age of the digital employee is here.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We're going to break down the 4 huge shifts that all went down in that 1 week. First, this brand new kind of worker. Then, we'll get into how AI is literally jumping into the physical world. After that, we got to talk about the serious price we're paying for all this speed. And finally, we'll touch on the huge global debate about, well, what the heck we do next.
Okay, first up, the agentic economy. So here's a good way to think about it. The old AI, it was like a calculator. Super useful, but you had to punch in every single number and tell it exactly what to do. This new agentic AI, it's more like a full-on accountant. You don't give it instructions, you give it a goal. You just say, hey, maximize my profits, and it goes off and figures out all the steps on its own. See the difference? It's not a tool anymore, it's a worker, and it's already building this massive new economy around it.
And look, I want to be clear, this isn't some pie in the sky, maybe one day kind of thing. Just check out these numbers. From one single quarter, we are talking billions of dollars in new revenue, all of it driven by this new kind of AI. And this is way bigger than just tech companies getting richer. No, this is a fundamental ground-level shift in how our entire economy works. And the speed? We've just never seen anything like it.
If you really want to grasp how serious this is, you just have to follow the money. In 1 week, Microsoft dropped $23 billion just to build the data centers needed to run these new AI agents. That's not an experiment. That is literally building the factories for the next industrial revolution.
So, what's the actual tech leap here? What really changed? Well, on the one hand, you have the old AI. Think of basic code completion. It suggests the next little snippet of code for you. It's like a really smart autocomplete. Helpful, but limited. But on the other hand, you've got these new agentic workflows. And these things, they don't just suggest. They plan an entire software project from scratch, they find and fix the bugs, and then they execute the whole thing, all on their own.
And it's not just 1 or 2 big players either. We're seeing a whole new ecosystem of these digital employees just explode onto the scene. You've got AIs that can code with fewer mistakes than many human programmers. You've got AIs designed to go in and fix those ancient, creaky old IT systems that nobody else wants to touch. And there's this whole universe of smaller, specialized agents that can do pretty much anything, from writing your marketing emails to designing brand new medicines.
Okay, so we've got these new digital workers who can think and act for themselves. That's huge. But what happens when they get a body? What happens when they learn to walk? Well, that's our next big shift. For the very first time, AI is literally breaking out of the server rack and into our physical world. And frankly, the results are, well, they're both incredible and maybe a little bit terrifying.
And it all happened so fast. We saw 3 massive milestones in just that 1 week. First, Tesla showed off its Optimus robot walking all by itself. No wires, outdoors on uneven ground. I mean, that's a huge deal for real-world robotics. Then, Google's DeepMind unveiled a self-driving lab. It's a lab that can discover brand new materials completely on its own. And to top it all off, this AI called Robin showed it could automate the entire scientific method, from coming up with a hypothesis to actually running the physical experiment and then analyzing the data, the whole shebang.
And if you're still not convinced this is a big deal, let's go back to the money. A single startup, one company working on this physical intelligence is about to get a valuation of, wait for it, $14 billion. That's not just an investment, that's a massive bet on the entire future of humanity.
But all of this incredible speed, it comes at a price. And that brings us to our third part, the safety and security reckoning. Because as the industry is just racing forward at breakneck speed, the cracks are really starting to show. And the potential consequences, well, they're becoming dangerously clear.
Okay, just imagine for a second if a hacker could take over every single AI-powered website and app out there and turn them all into their own personal puppets. Sounds bad, right? Well, that's exactly what this React 2 shell vulnerability did. It was this massive, gaping security hole that really showed everyone just how fragile this whole new AI world actually is.
But the risks aren't just about technical stuff like hacking. A really disturbing study came out from Stanford's AI Institute. They found that some AI therapy bots weren't just failing to help people, they were failing in truly horrifying ways. In one case, a bot completely failed to recognize that a person was expressing suicidal intent. Instead, it thought the person was asking for travel advice, and it helpfully suggested specific locations where they could go to commit self-harm.
And the dangers just keep coming. It's not just hackers or alignment failures. We're also starting to see some really strange and unsettling side effects. For instance, Anthropic found that the more engineers rely on AI to do their jobs, the worse they get at the deep, technical parts of it. They're actually losing skills. It's like we're outsourcing our own brains, and we have no idea what the long-term effects of that are going to be. And, as if that weren't enough, the UN is now warning that these same powerful commercial AIs are being scooped up and repurposed for warfare.
So you've got all this incredible power, this insane amount of money, and these terrifying dangers, all swirling together. And as you can imagine, it's ignited an absolute firestorm. And that brings us to our final section, the great safety debate. That huge clash between we need to regulate this and don't slow down innovation. And you can see this split playing out all over the world, even between close allies. So in the United States, the approach is pretty much voluntary, a light touch. They're hoping the industry will just regulate itself. But then you look at the UK, and it's a totally different story. Lawmakers there are demanding legally binding rules. They're citing what they call existential risks to the country. And they're saying, look, voluntary pinky swears just aren't going to cut it.
But there is a third way that's starting to get some traction, and it's kind of clever. Instead of just trying to lock AI down with rules, what if we actually encouraged people to find the flaws, to try and break it? That's the basic idea behind this new safe harbor law in Portugal. It basically gives ethical hackers legal protection to go find vulnerabilities. It's like a giant bug bounty program for the entire AI industry, trying to find the problems before the bad guys do.
But it's not just about what these AIs can do. It's also about what they're made of. And this is where things get really messy. Because a lot of these huge, powerful models, they were trained on all of our data, our articles, our YouTube videos, our online conversations. So who owns all that? And who gets to profit when it's used to build a multi-billion-dollar AI? That is the massive question that the EU is now trying to answer with this huge antitrust probe into Google.
So, when you put it all together, it leaves us with this one final, really crucial question. In just 1 week, AI became truly autonomous. It started to walk around in our physical world. And it showed us a clear path to a new multi-trillion-dollar economy. But with all the risks we've just talked about, are we building a powerful new partner for humanity? Or are we just building ourselves an incredibly complex and maybe unsolvable new problem? That's the question we all have to figure out, and fast.